There we go. Okay, I want to welcome you again to our Tuesday testimonials. And I have, of course, a very special guest tonight, which is my sister. Marion and I were talking, and she said to me, so Nina, she said, who are some of your better customers to get testimonials from? And I said, well, my best customer is my sister. And you've been using Shaklee now for how many years?
37.
36. 36
years, yes.
She doesn't look like she's old enough for that, does she? So they've had some major, you were using Shaklee before there was any, or that you knew there was any, right?
Yes,
yeah.
when I got pregnant with our first son.
Okay. So, but they've had quite some challenges in their life, and I just want her to go back and, start where some of those challenges started, and then go from there. So, Kathy, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kathy. As she said, I'm her sister. I'm her little sister and younger sister, as you can tell.
Are you sure?
No, I have lots of wrinkles. I work outside.
You can't see it at all. You look really good.
She's a good camera.
So
anyway, so I started Shaklee when I was pregnant with our first son because I didn't weigh hardly anything, and I didn't feel very good. Anyway, so of course it's protein and Herblax and Vital E, and that's how I started. And I don't even remember if my husband started. And then my second child, I was pregnant with her, and my husband got very sick. He had ulcerative colitis, and he was helping build the fertilizer business with my parents, and the stress started killing him, and he was bleeding really bad. He started out at I
was just going to ask you a question though. Did he have that problem
on and off? Yes.
On and off, but it wasn't he had colitis first.
Yes. And he would, like when he was younger, and he would have times of blood here and there, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And he was 180 pounds, 180 to 190 pounds is what he was. And as they were doing the business, he started having blood in his stool, diarrhea and blood, and then more blood and more blood. And we did, we went to I don't remember what we were going to call him, a holistic doctor. And he put him on some different medicine, and he also tried to do in Shaklee. But by the time he was doing it, because Nina's like, well, you need to take this, and you need to take that. And he said, I'm sick of it. I can't take anymore. And he went down to 120 pounds. And he was laying in the hospital dying. He ended up in Mayo, and we were there for a month. And he got a bag for like 6 months, and then they reconnected him after, because they took his whole large intestine out. And he was like that for 6 years. And
what did the doctor say when he went there?
I mean, that one more day and he'd be dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were letting him bleed to death in Montana is what was happening. And he was on high doses of cortisone, and we took a commercial flight. We missed our connection because of issues in the airport, and we got as far as Minneapolis, and it was before the days of cell phones. And so I called my dad, and he was able to get a hold of Nina, who was on her way to come and take us to be with me in Rochester, because I was pregnant with our second child. And we got to Minneapolis, and I'll never forget it. I bawled my eyes out as I seen my sister, because it was like, I have somebody. I had a guy literally dying on me in the airplane. Everybody looked at him as he was from a concentration camp, because he looked horrible. He looked like hell. 112-pound man is what he was. And in the airport, he would also go into the bathroom, and he would go and he would bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed. And I would have to send people into him and have him come back out, because our next flight was taken off. But anyway, we got to Mayo. They did emergency surgery. He had a bag for about 6 months, I believe it was. And then they hooked him back up his small intestine. They made a little J pouch where he held his stool, and he went to the bathroom normally, but he still bled all the time. He still had the inflammation in his system.
And infections all the time.
Yeah, he was on Flagyl constantly, and any stress would kill him, kick him right back into where he was before. So he went back to Mayo, and he asked them to please take out his rectum, take out off of his, disconnect all that, which they did, not happily. And we had a doctor that was like Nancy Reagan's doctor. He was a very well-known doctor in Mayo, and he was an awesome doctor. But anyway, so that's what they did to him.
And he said he'd never, ever seen a colon so close to popping that didn't pop.
They showed us his colon. They actually had it in a pan and laid it out, and they explained the ribs, but his ribs had disappeared. It was all flat. He was just very fortunate it did not pop in the airplane. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
But he could gain some weight then. He didn't constantly have the diarrhea, and he would not do the Shaklee, because every time he did the Shaklee, it didn't help him, is what he always said. So then you fast forward quite a few years, actually. I don't even remember how many years. Then I don't even remember his first product that he started taking, if it was Nutriferon. I don't know how old Nutriferon is.
I think that came out in 2000. No, it was before Roger, so probably about 2000.
Yep, and yeah. I am almost positive that's his first thing that he took, because he hated the protein. He would not do the protein. We had Physique. The Physique was out, and I know he would do Physique when he would do stuff. But Kevin has, through all this time, he was more on the couch than not on the couch. I mean, the weather would take, and he'd be on the couch. I mean, we went to the mission field in this time as well, and he'd be in the camper or on our rental where we were sick a lot of the time.
And the problem was nobody could really figure out what was wrong with him. No, but I said with all the people we dealt with, it's like we knew there was something that was inflammation.
Yep.
We knew there was something that was autoimmune, and that's why I think he started doing the Nutriferon.
The Nutriferon, yes. Yep. And he started, it wasn't that many, I want to say 4 or 5, and we went to conference. That's where I went. We went with you. And Laura was speaking about Nutriferon. And so then Kevin upped it to 12. Is what
day.
12 Nutriferon a day, morning and night. And then the chiropractor said, well, you need to have your level D checked, because your D needs to be up by 90. So he takes 10 vitamin D, the whatever you call it,
D3.
Yep, a day. But he already had started doing the cinch. He loved the cinch, did good on the cinch. Cinch quit. He cannot do the new protein. So we switched him over to Physique. And then he did the strip, but in the strip, the omegas come through. They come through his bag hole, the ones that are in the strip. So then he would take those out. And then the vitamin Bs come through as grit in his bag. Or they'll come through partial, because partial the vitamin B is digested in your large intestine. He doesn't have it. It's still, and you can put a vitamin B, we did it, you put it in a glass and it melts. You put it in your mouth and it goes through your digestive system, and part of it still comes through his bag. So it does what it says it does. And then he also did the pearls, but he would chew the pearls
through so fast.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So he actually,
the DI came out then.
Yeah, the DI, actually the first night he took the DI, he slept 7 hours straight, and he never does that, because it's 3-4 hours, and then he has to get up and empty his ostomy bag. But only the first night he did that, because he said, this is just amazing. But he just started the DI.
It might change it.
Right. But I can tell you this, between what he takes from Shaklee, and it's been a trial and error. And like I said, 12 Nutriferon a day, it adds up. And he says, okay, I'm going to cut back. And he learned, because it used to be, I'm just sick of taking all this. It's costing us so much money through the years. I mean, it's like, okay, that's a lot of money, so let's just quit taking it. This is Kevin.
He's going to come and tell us.
Hello, everyone. I don't weigh 112 pounds anymore. I weigh 200 pounds now.
I tell you what, this was, I'm very grateful that she did this. She goes, 9, I can't talk in front of a camera. And it's like, yes, you can. And Kevin goes, well, I'm not going to. But go ahead.
But it's been through the years of trying something, and if it works, and it has helped him amazingly. He's not on the couch. We roof, we side, we do windows, we do whatever to make a living. And there's times that we have to call our clients, and they all know it. There may be days that he is sick, and most of the time it's food he eats anymore. It's preservatives that will kick him in, or eggs. He has to do like organic milk and butter and stuff. We found the different things, but he was doing the strip, and he kept taking more pills out, and he's like, okay, it's a waste of money to do the strip, because he can't do Vivix, I should say. He has never started low enough on the Vivix that he can take the Vivix. He coughs. It creates, because he has something in his throat as well. But like my brother said, they watched Kevin through all the different years, and they just said, you know, when he's sick, he goes, it's okay. He says, you have him. He's had thrombosis twice. Like his lungs were 3/4 away full of blood clots the first time. The second time he actually keeled over on the bathroom floor, and I believe the hit brought him, it moved the clot, because when we got to the hospital, his heart was still out of whack. So we also went to Florida, and I know it's different. I know that you guys have did the clear and talked about the clear and stuff, but we went to a homeopathic doctor that worked with the energies, and he does a spray. It's like that and his Shaklee, and he takes a few other things that he has found keeps him more like this, you know. I mean, and like you just see him, he looks healthy. We used to go to the doctors, and they'd say, well, what do you want me to do? What do you know, it's like, I can give you this, I can give you that. And he says, I won't go to the doctors, you know, because it's like, I'll give you a pill, but they don't do anything. They just mess them up. And he went 2 years ago, he went to get a tetanus shot. Okay. And I know this isn't to do with the Shaklee, but it just shows our whole body, how it works together. So he went in to go get a tetanus shot, and he got infected is what it was, and from what he was working in. So they said, well, come back and do a tetanus shot. Well, they didn't just do a tetanus shot, they did a DPT. And the next day his hands were like this, and they were swollen. And then so he went back to the doctor, and the doctor goes, well, you have arthritis. And he goes, I didn't get arthritis overnight. Yeah. And so we ended up in the emergency room, because not having a large intestine, he dehydrates. And so there's times we go in and he gets IVs to rehydrate him, because everything, like his stool, comes through so quickly, so he doesn't have the water. And so he went to the doctor to get an IV, and the doctor goes, you don't have arthritis. He says, you actually probably, some of your issues, your systemic issues, are probably from when you were younger, and you got the DPT shot, and you had a reaction probably to the pertussis, I think it is. He said, and that's what you're having again with all of this, you know. But I mean, to me, that all works together. Your whole body does.
Yeah, but it's amazing. And then again, he used a ton of Nutriferon, and he came through that again.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys order Nutriferon by the case. Yep. Every single month, they go through a case of Nutriferon with the two of them. Yep. Well, I should say with Kevin.
With Kevin mainly. But my grandkids, all 9 of our grandkids know Grandma's concoction is Defend and Resist, or Liquilia if you're really little or you're naughty. It's so nasty. But the Nutriferon, Defend and Resist, and the Sea Drink. It's, you know, yeah, it's what it is. And they know, I can tell you, I have 4 grandsons that can swallow the Vitalias cheaper, because we normally supply them with vitamins. They know they don't get sick if they take a Vitalia a day. And it was way cheaper than doing the kids' chewables. And the last year, I have a diabetic grandson who also does the
type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, he was 4 when he got it. But yes, he takes the
glucose regulation.
Yes, and that it's amazing what that does to the little guy. But last year he had strep throat 4 times with his brother, because his mom, my ex-daughter-in-law, but this year they have not once been on antibiotics, but they switched over to Vitalia a day.
Yeah, so it's amazing, amazing. So any questions for Kathy? You made it through it.
I made it through. I need some stress relief.
We've been working on books for an entire week. So.
Yes.
Yes. But you know what is the amazing? I mean, I'm sitting on the side and I watch this, and what's amazing to me is watching how, you know, Kevin is so sick, we've said many times, yes, we both spend a lot of money on Shaklee, but where would we be today without it? I always say God and Shaklee is what gets you through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have a question for you, Kathy. It's a
Yes.
great story. My goodness, I'm in awe. So in the beginning, when all this started happening, where was your confidence level with the medical profession and also in relationship to thinking more holistic? And has things changed in your perception?
Oh, definitely. Yes, because we didn't go to the doctor when I was younger, but the doctors are the doctors, they're God. They know what they're talking about until, well, Kevin nearly died under the first doctor. And I watched my mom mom took him out of the hospital. We went 100 miles an hour from one town to the next to take him out of the hospital, and went against the doctor's view because the doctor said, no, I'm doing what's the best here. But I was 22 years old and I was pregnant with my second kid. And I think you're just kind of blind. And we listened to the doctor, but Kevin, he had a mind of his own that he didn't want to take what the doctor gave unless, like when he had the infections in his stoma and stuff, yes, we'd put the meds on. But then I was introduced to chiropractic shortly after that. And then I started working for a chiropractor, which really, I'm serious, that helped me because yes, I gave my kids vitamins. I did not understand even the protein. I knew I felt better, and my big sister said, you're supposed to take it. No, I'm serious. I mean, you do it because that's what they're supposed to do. And now it's so much better for you. But today we go to the chiropractor and we found doctors that work with us. Actually, we have. Which has helped a lot because we go to a doctor in North Dakota that is if you have a stomach upset, she says, maybe you need to do some probiotics and do apple cider vinegar, so.
When you go to a doctor now, do you at any point let them know how you feel about good health and other questions you ask to try to figure out, is he in the same path you are in thinking?
The one medical doctor we go to, yes. I went to Mayo myself and I lost everything else I had left of a doctor because I was told, I listed my vitamins and I was told by a doctor that the vitamin B and the vitamin C were going to give me my stomach problems that I was having. It's a waste of money she went through all these and it was just like, I have no value of what she said.
And so often you go to a doctor to find out what's going on. And then it's like, okay, is there something I can do that I know will help build that up? Unless it's an infection.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And do you remember you had stomach ulcers back in the day and what?
That's why I was doing the protein. I forgot. Yeah. That's why I did protein. I had major stomach problems. And that is why I did it because then my stomach issues went away because they always said I had an ulcer.
Because the only thing you could eat without killing you was orange juice or drink.
Yeah, but I drank Pepsi and smoke, so.
Lots changed through the years. Does anybody else have questions? At the end of it, it comes down to say again, we have amazing bodies if they're given what they need. And can we get rid of everything all the time? Maybe not, but boy, we've talked about it so many different times. Where would you be without it?
And that's it. That is another thing is it's expensive. And I tried doing Shaklee way back in the day, like for the business, and it wasn't my thing. And we live at times just on disability checks. I mean, believe me, living in the mission field, you live on faith and you'll learn. But you know what? We've always bought our Shaklee. And I remember that one time we went to the church way back in the day, we needed help. And Shaklee was one of the things on my list. And I remember one of the deacons saying, well, you don't need to put that on. That's not necessary. And they said, yes, it is.
They wanted her to quit using Shaklee. Yeah.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah. But it costs, but there is a cost to health. And I had a woman say to me not that long ago, she goes, my husband said to me, we're spending quite a bit of money on Shaklee. And she said, yes, I am. And you can quit taking if you want to. but I'm not going to. She said, this is my house and I'm making a house payment. This is my insurance. So, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys
Yes,
for
thank
coming
you.
on, and thank you for joining us, and thank you, Kathy, for being brave.